Hey guys, welcome to the beginning of this video on the Caterpillar 302.5 Mini Excavator, trying to find another hydraulic leak. So this video ends up turning, it's already fixed. This video ends up being really long, or the repair. So at the end of the video, I will put a timestamp on the thing, or a little label on the video to let you know exactly how long my videos were. I'm gonna edit it down and do as much high speed possible in there. So, but at least that way you can see where all the hydraulic hoses are and where that actual leak was coming from, because I'm sure I'm not going to be the only one that has a 20-year-old machine that has a leak where this one was leaking. I'm really surprised at how hard it was to get to. The engineers definitely did not think about the mechanics on this one. So, but I did get it fixed. It's up and running. So hope you enjoyed the video. And like I said, I'm sorry about the sweat. It's just 94 degrees and super humid right now. So job's done. I'm going to go swimming. See you at the end. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. So the other day I noticed I was dripping oil out of the bottom of the mini excavator. You can see a spot right there and a spot right there. So yesterday I put it up on car ramps. It was a Sunday. So today's Monday. And it rained a lot, so everything's all wet. So I am going to go underneath and see if I can figure out where the oil leak's coming from. Let's go under. Okay, so we're underneath the belly of the 302.5. You can see I have it up on jack stands, or car ramps, I should say. The oil leak, I wiped it off, is coming from up underneath this plate. Underneath this plate is, I think they call it the spider. It is where all the hydraulic lines from the lower area, the drive hydraulic lines and the front blade hydraulic lines meet. It's on a pivot. I just replaced a bunch of those lines last year and this year, and that's where the leak is coming from. You can see it starting to come back out right here. So let's hope it's a simple fix, like a loose line. Let me prop the camera up and we'll take the belly off, that little belly pan, and we'll go from there. Those are 16 millimeter bolts. There's 4 of them. I hope this is a easy fix. I hope. Well, it's definitely from this side here. Let me go get a light so I can see. There's paper towels down here, so I don't, actually I'll stuff them right here. I don't want to drip too much oil on my work blanket. Well, these seem to be dry. You got 4 on that side, 4 on this side. And you got the ones way up there that's dry that we just replaced. This one here is wet. Everything on this side is wet. But I think it might be coming from up above. And that's where I had that major oil leak about a month ago at a job site. So I'm gonna double check these lines, make sure none of these are loose, and then I might have to take the floorboard off up top. So let me do that. All right, so we're back on top. I think it's coming from in the floor. So that means I gotta take out the rubber mat. There's a steel plate underneath here. I'll take out the steel plate, and that's gonna open up all the other hydraulic lines. So let's do that. Looks like there might be a spot underneath here, but I can't really tell. It looks like I got to pick up all the tools, nuts and bolts, and then I have to wash this off. Let's see. So it's definitely dripping from this side. This is where that spider is. It's right down there. There's a little hydraulic fluid here. About a month ago, I blew this main hydraulic line, and I lost 5 gallons of hydraulic fluid right off of this one. But that one looks tight. You can actually see the old O-ring that's sitting down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get that pressure washer out that I built, that I got running, that yellow DeWalt in the other video. I'm going to get that pressure washer out, and I'm going to wash everything, get it cleaned, and then I'm going to have to let it dry, and then troubleshoot it from there. So let's get this washed. It's really not in the best place, but you know, I can move it. I'll take it off the ramps, and I will bring it over. I'll bring it over on near the garden hose. Actually, I'll bring it down the driveway a little bit more. So let's get this off the ramps, and then I can pressure wash it. So I got the engine nice and clean. I know I have an oil leak somewhere in the engine on the top. I think it's either going to be this oil sending unit or the valve cover gasket, but there's an oil leak somewhere right around here. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. I actually have a new one of those. I should put it in. See, there's all oil I missed all the way in there. But anyways, that's not what I'm trying to fix. What I'm trying to fix is an oil leak. So here is all the valve bodies underneath the floor pan. And I had the machine running the entire time, hoping I would see something. Nothing. This side's all dry. And this side was kind of hard to get the machine in there to wash. So I dried it all with the backpack blower. So what I'm going to do is, this was one line I was thinking, but it seems fine now. That's another small line, but they all seem fine. So I don't know where it is. You see an abrasion on one line down there. Let me zoom in right there. Little abrasion, but that's not leaking. So what I'm going to do is wait for that part of the driveway to dry, put the ramps back once the driveway dries, and I'll move the excavator back up there, and then I'll just let it sit there for however many hours or days it takes for it to start dripping, and I'll find it that way, I hope. So I'll see you when the driveway dries. Okay, so it has been 24 hours since I pressure washed the machine. If you remember, I've been trying to find a hydraulic leak. So I got it up on ramps. I have not touched it today. It's been 24 hours since I washed it. And the first thing you notice is I have hydraulic fluid dripping down the track right there. I then went underneath, and you see it's wet here. Follow that up, and it's coming from that bolt right there. So follow that bolt over, and that bolt right here is the pin for the cylinder. But the cylinder is dry, but then if you notice that 3/4 inch steel all the way across is wet. Keep going across. This is how you trouble you follow leaks. You come over here and you notice that fitting and that fitting are soaked. Let me go up above. All right, so now I'm looking through the battery compartment. So now you know these are soaked. Well, those are not hydraulic lines. Those are actually remote grease fittings here. So you see there's a hole coming through the frame right there. Let me zoom in there. The fluid is actually coming out of that hole. So bring it all the way back out now. That means we're walking around the whole machine. That is down in there. So now somewhere down in this tangle of hoses is a tiny little leak. So now the hard part. I gotta start digging through there trying to find a leak without creating more leaks. So that's what's on the list for today. But that's why I pressure washed it. Because if you remember, all this was all hydraulic fluid, all soaked. Everything in here was really old oil. That's because I had blown this hydraulic line in the past and it had blown oil all over the place. So you get a fresh start, let it sit there. As long as you don't need the machine, that's how I do it. So this is my home machine for my personal use. So that's the spider right there. So it's got to be one of these lines over here, I'm hoping, but we'll see. Time to start digging my hands in there. So I do believe I found the leak. Look past my hand in there where the light is. See a wet spot? I'm gonna zoom you in. See that fitting? That fitting rotted out. That's got to be the absolute hardest fitting to get to. I don't even know what that line goes to. Show you where it is. It is underneath all the hydraulic lines. All these are going to have to come off and getting bent up out of the way. These all go to your boom. They go through the wall and come out here. So once I get all those up out of the way, I should be able to get at least better view in there, because I don't even know where that line goes. I can't even follow it. It's so tucked up in there. It's a small one too. It's gonna be a small line like this, small size. So that is definitely gonna be a multiple day project by the time I get it apart. And then by the time I get the part number, have it made by the Caterpillar dealer, pick it up, and then come back and install it. So I'm gonna save that for another day. So, but yeah, that's in the belly of the beast. That is probably the hardest hydraulic line to get to, I think. So far, this is gonna be the hardest for me. But we'll get it done. We've done worse on other machines, so let's get it fixed. Okay, so I got a few of the parts off the machine. They're just pans and protection plates. So I got the metal floor out. I'm just gonna set that in. Here's the metal floor. If you're wondering what this is a high speed, low speed for your heel. If you wanna, when you're traveling, put your heel down, makes it dry faster, slower. So I'm just gonna set this in there. I'm not gonna bolt it. This is more so I don't break another line putting my foot on it. So that sits nicely right on there. I have the 4 bolts in the belly pan. The belly pan's off, but I have the 4 bolts up in there. So I'm gonna crawl underneath, grab those 4 bolts out of there so we do not lose them, and I'll put them on my little magnetic tray. So the machine's been leaking for probably about 2 weeks now. Slow leak. So I do believe it's gonna be one of the auxiliary lines. It's not a main hydraulic line. It's definitely not a blasting out pressure. So I just want to move a couple of those logs, like I said. So I am going to move the machine, switch the buckets, put the small bucket on there, and that way I can use the grapple also, grab the logs, truck them in back. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out this grading bucket to my 12-inch trenching bucket. It's a lot better to use when I have the thumb. So in order to do that, for this Caterpillar quick disconnect, take your 19mm wrench. There's a bolt up on the top. Loosen the bolt. What that does is it lifts up a wedge that wedges the bucket in there. Second thing is taking your open end wrench, grab that red dog right here, click it forward. Now the bucket is free to fall off. So now what I'll do is I'll start the machine up, I'll put the bucket down on the ground, I'll uncurl, the bucket will fall off, I'll grab the new one, hook it, and reverse that. Let's watch. So I got all that, those two little piles moved. There were two piles over there, put them in the driveway, swung them this way. So now I have a little bit of firewood to split for tomorrow, tonight or tomorrow. I gotta start cutting. I got the two log splitters. I'm only gonna use the main one, the Phoenix for now, I do believe. Although I may have some big rounds. That other one goes vertical, the Husky, the old Husky that I picked up used. So that does go vertical, so I may use that to cut some of these the bigger nuggets once I cut them into 18-inch logs. So I have some firewood to keep me busy. Now, let's go wash the excavator again because I still got to fix that leak. So, as you can see, it had a few little oil drops on the driveway. So, but I even put the trailer back. Oop, guess I dragged the trailer jack a little bit. I gotta fix that. But once I'm done with the firewood that I already moved, then I'll start going through this pile. And that's a lot of big logs. So let's get that excavator washed off again. So I got the machine rinsed off again. I got it up on the ramps. Take this off so it dries. In there. The leak's down in that corner, but all those top lines got to come off. So I'm gonna let it sit there. I'll work on it for tomorrow. Like I said, I just rinsed it all off again. Got some of the dirt off from moving the firewood. And the leak is basically right inside that hole behind that grease fitting. So it's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a tough one to get to. I'm sure once I open it all up, get all that lines out of the way, it'll be a lot easier, but we'll see. And I'm sure I'll find some other problems in there. So I already know I gotta order a new line for here. So I might just take this line off and bring it with me when I do that one over there. So that's it for today. So today's the day. I'm gonna start taking apart the mini excavator to trace down that hydraulic leak. Sat here for 2 days. That's 2 days of it leaking right there. And the other day when I washed it, we tracked it down. It's coming out of that hole in the frame right there. Well, the hole in the frame right there, I'm gonna walk around the machine, is in there, all the way down the bottom. So I actually have to take all these lines off and label them and hopefully not lose too much fluid to get to the bottom of it. This is gonna be a very long video or a long job, tedious job. So I don't know how much I'm gonna be recording or how much I'm gonna put in the video, but we will play it by ear. Wish me luck. We don't forget where they go. So let's start labeling. So I've traced that line, ended up taking off 5 lines out of here. I got 2 up out of the way, and 3 I pulled through what I would call a firewall, pulled through the frame of the machine that way to get out of the way. And so if you look in here, right where the light is, let me put my hand down here. Right there, you can see it leaking. That line comes around, let me put you back on wide angle, comes around to here, Okay, so it does a big loop. That loop goes that way. Obviously, I don't have any access in that frame area unless I take the whole seat out. I'm not doing that. So only one reason hydraulic lines will come back this way, and that is to the controls. These are not fly-by cables. These are actual hydraulic lines. So I actually ended up pulling back and forth on the lines and found out that it's none of these, but it's this one down here. So if I'm gonna put my hand here and I'm gonna touch the cable. Ready? Touch the line. See the line moving? So there's my broken line. So this line, come back up top, sorry, is this one here, the low one. I'm gonna push it back down in there so you'll see it. And it is right there. So it's gonna be simple getting this piece off. It's gonna be pretty hard to get in there to get that off because that's all rusted. And that's because this frame body fills with dirt over time. And for years, I never washed it. I never took it apart. So it's probably filled up with dirt and just rusted that line right there. But there, now you can see that line really nice. It's right there. So that's the line I gotta out. And then I gotta snake a new one in all the way through the hole somehow over here and up. So that's the next step. Definitely not gonna be able to watch this. But let me get it out so I can get over and try to get one made. So I have a feeling this one is gonna make a mess no matter what I do. It's gonna be 11/16. So let me show you, my biggest fear happened. Ended up having to drain the hydraulic tank to hopefully minimize it. But that whole fitting that my wrench is on, I don't know if you can even see in there, that whole fitting is all rusted out and just twisted. So now that whole fitting's got to be replaced. So more hydraulic lines are coming off. So here's that fitting that rotted out. This control line goes to that joystick. It looks like this control line is going to come over to this joystick. So I'm going to have to get both lines new and that fitting, that T in the middle there. So now I got to trace this one to see where this one goes. Finally got the lines out, 2 lines. So the top right on that side on that joystick, top right on that joystick. Goes down, top right on that one, ass sitting in the machine. Top right on that one, top right on that one, ass sitting in the machine. Here they are. So you can see, completely rusted out. This goes to the valve body that's in there. So I'm gonna bring this whole thing. There are no hydraulic numbers. Normally they have line numbers on here, but I don't see them. So I'm gonna bring the actual lines, obviously, have them make them the exact same. Go from there. I gotta hurry up and get there before they close. So I'm back from H.O. Penn, my local Caterpillar dealer, and they have to make those hoses, and they got to get the parts in tomorrow. So I have some caps right here that I ended up buying. So let's hope they're the right size. It was a crapshoot. We were guessing at what size caps they were, because it is going to rain tonight and it is going to rain tomorrow. So I have to seal these up. I don't want any water in these systems. So let's hope I got the right size ones. So I got the machine bundled up because it's going to rain. Here are the caps. They actually work pretty good. I think I got a little grease on my lens. But I capped that end down there. That was the one that was actually leaking. That one down there, that's what started all this. So I capped that one. Capped the one in that joystick. Capped the one in this joystick. These 5 I have off go to the boom and the stick. Those are all capped. And then I got the lines bagged outside and inside. So we are good to go. I'm just going to close the door up and call it a day. It's supposed to rain today and tomorrow, so I probably won't get to put this back together for a couple days. So we'll see. So it's been a couple days by getting between getting the parts made, having a special order. They had a special order the fittings, and then with all the rain, luckily I closed up the machine. So I got the parts. Here's the new parts. This is the part that rotted out on the old one. So I actually had to get both lines made. So these actually go to the joysticks. This here you could see how bad it is compared to the new one, obviously. So now we got to try to get this back in place. To get this back in place is going to be really tight, and I'm just gonna set the camera up and I'm just gonna try to get this machine back together. So I just gotta pay attention to all the hoses I took off, try to put them all back on, and try to sneak this in there. So let me show you real quick how these seal. There is a flat surface here, and there is a flat surface on the other side, but they get O-rings. I don't see the O-rings in the cap there. Those O-rings are what set the seal, that make the seal. So not only do I have to get the hoses in there, I got to get the O-rings off the other ends. See, all the other ends have O-rings here. Let me show you here. See the O-ring in there? So I got to replace the O-rings on all the other sides in the machine too, which is not going to be easy. So let me just get this done. I got an emergency job coming up in 2 days that I got to get this done for. So I'll set the camera up and go from there. So this is when the labeling is very, very important. So I got my new lines installed back there. This is one of them right here. And I fished the 5 lines that I pulled out through the front of the machine out. I pushed them back in, being very careful. Here's my labels. I have tags on them. So 9F is the one that goes way up in front here. That's this one. Then I have these two, and then these two. Obviously, I have to do this one first. So this is DL back, which I do believe this one is DL. And this one is DL back. So this one will be the second one I install, this one. And then I have to do this back one. And then I can do this one and this one. And the whole time you gotta make sure you're not creating other problems elsewhere. And you're not kinking other hoses, or they're not gonna have abrasion problems. You try to do as neat as possible, but with this cluster of hoses in there, the engineers really packed everything in there instead of giving you like an extra inch of clearance. So I'll do my best. Let's get it to go. So I got all the lines in the belly done. Was these four, these two, and this one, I do believe. Whatever, oh, this one back here has a tag on it. And then I got the ones that all the way down in there done. Those were the first ones I did. Obviously you can't even see them anymore. So now I got to put the lines back into the joysticks. So what I got to do is I got to move all my O-rings, and these are caps. Strongly recommend, if you have a hydraulic machine, you have some emergency caps on hand. This machine, so far for this job, I used 3 different sizes. The sizes are, according to the Caterpillar dealer, hydraulic shop guy said, is size 4, size 6, and size 8. So the 4s are on the ends of the small lines that actually go up to the joysticks. So let me get all this moved so I can get in there and finish hooking it up. So I pretty much got all the hydraulic lines put in. I got the 2 in the arms, the 2 small ones that come from the arms go all the way down here to the valve body. I got all the main boom valve body ones that I took out already put back in. So now I got to put everything back together to get this thing so and then I can put hydraulic fluid and then I can get it started. Actually, let me see if I could just put the console back on here for the key, and then I should be able to put the hydraulic fluid in, because I got to get it started before I cover everything up, because I want to make sure there's no leaks in the arms or in the feet. So let me go get the arm console with the key. So I filled up the hydraulics, tightened up all the lines, connected the battery. So now I got to run this thing with it all open without sitting on a comfortable seat to see if I see any hydraulic leaks. So let's see if I can start this thing. Keys on. Start with some simple. I'm going to lift the blade up. Trying to get some hydraulic fluid in the motor, in the pump. Okay. You lift the boom up. Camera's on the boom. Alright, that obviously has air in it, so giving it time. There it comes. There it comes. A little more gas. Some hydraulic fluid in the swing here. So everything appears to still be dry. So I think it's fixed. Now we just got to finish putting it back together. So we got it done. Very labor or time consuming, a lot of tedious stuff in there. One thing I definitely would recommend is if you have any kind of machine, a hydraulic machine, have some of these hydraulic coupler caps on hand. They're about $5 to $10 a piece, and these are the old washers that I took out. Make sure you have a bunch of new washers, all the right sizes. This particular job, according to the Caterpillar dealer, this is a size 4, this is a size 6, and this is a size 8. And they're just dead end caps, but you still need good O-rings in there. So always have a baggie full of the O-rings also. These are pretty much most of the sizes on that valve body. I'm not sure about on the sticks themselves for the cylinders. So, but definitely have some of these on hand when you do it. This saved me. Prevented everything from getting contaminated. All right, we got it done. Sorry about all the sweat. It's about 93 degrees out, 90 to 100% humidity. It's been brutal last couple days, but we got it done. As you can see in this one, this actually went here. That is actually what started the leak right there. And as you can see, this whole fitting started rusting. So by trying to get this one hose off of here, this hose broke off. So I ended up having to replace both hoses. Definitely learned a lot about the machine. I thought it was a fly-by-wire, thought you had wires. It's not. It's actually hydraulic lines go right to the joysticks. 4 on the right, no, 6 on the right, 6 on the left, I do believe. So it is quite the hydraulic plumbing nightmare, but we got it done. That was probably the hardest fitting to get to so far on my machine. Just for this one little hydraulic line was probably the most work for one simple little repair. And this was just a drip. Thank gosh it didn't happen at a job. Thank gosh it didn't happen in the middle of a road and it had a catastrophic failure where you're blowing hydraulic fluid all over the place. I noticed a slow leak, and that's when I started looking around. I kind of isolated it. I washed the machine to really get all the dirt out of there so I could really kind of watch it, let it sit a couple days, and I watched where it came from, and that's what it was. Luckily it didn't blow out, but it would have if I did not replace it. So that's done. A few more things to do on the machine still gotta put a new windshield in it. I don't know when I'm gonna get to do that. And still gotta put a new door glass in it, although that duct tape and trash bag have lasted about 18 years so far, so I might just redo that and call it good. So, but it's up and running. I have an emergency job I got to get to tomorrow. Actually not tomorrow, Monday, 'cause it's today Saturday, so I got to do it Monday. So I'll keep an eye on it, and hopefully there's no more leaks. I'm sure there will be in the future, but we'll take care of those as they come. Thanks for watching. I'll add up all the hours of video that I did getting this out. I am not going to keep it all in there because it was literally 3 days, over 3 days of troubleshooting, washing, taking apart, So I'll give you an hour, how many hours it actually took to do this. So, and I'm not a professional, obviously. That's why a lot of times I do things twice. I learn the hard way. But hey, thanks for watching. Catch me on the next one. Hope your machines don't break down as often as mine.